leave a comment. I'm getting ready for tomorrow, which starts my 5-day mood boost. It's a 5-day home practice challenge. And so I'm going to be live streaming on Facebook over at Subtle Yoga with Kristine Weber, which is my professional Facebook page. I just also learned how to go live on YouTube. I'm really not techie at all. People are always like, you're so techie. And I'm like, no, I'm really not. Necessity is the mother of invention. So like I've kind of figured it out a little bit. But I am able to go live on Facebook, Subtle Yoga with Kristine Weber, and my Subtle Yoga page on YouTube, because I know a lot of people don't have Facebook. So I'm also going live on YouTube. And then the third place I'm going live is on Instagram. So however you're following me, welcome. It's really nice to have you here. Please leave a comment. So today I've been like running around in my space, and I actually went to my storage unit today because we're buying a house tomorrow. We just moved back to Asheville. We had to get a new house. It's blah, 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 long, boring story. But anyway, so I went to my storage unit and I got stuff. So I have like my picture of the apostles which is in the, I forget what they're called, the 12 apostles. I know that they're the 12 apostles, but I don't know if there's 12 of them in Australia. It's in the southern part of Australia near Adelaide, and it's like one of my favorite places in the world. So I took a picture. So I brought my picture, and I got some plants, and I'm kind of like getting all set up and ready for tomorrow. So we start at 9 a.m. And it's a half-an-hour practice. I wanted to keep this really short. Whenever I do challenges, I keep them really short because the whole thing is practice, right? And I asked, when I sent out some emails, I asked people on my list, like, what do you want to cover? This is about boosting your mood. This is about you. What do you want to cover? And I got I got dozens and dozens, actually more than 100 responses. And so it was great. And a lot of them included things like, I'm just going to remind myself here because I have it. Yeah. So a lot of them included, a lot of people wanted me to talk about anxiety. Of course, stress and anxiety right now, like that's the big thing. So a lot of people wanted me to talk about anxiety. A lot of people wanted me to talk about depression, but there were some other really interesting thoughts too. I'm reading a few of them. One person said to me, how do I assess how I'm feeling so then I can make a good choice about my yoga practice? That's a great question, because you have to know how you feel before you know what to do, right? If you listen to me a lot, I'm always talking about that. So that's what my practice is all about, is helping you to get better and build that skill of kind of understanding how you feel. And so that was a great question, because when you know how you feel, you know what kind of practice to do. And let's see, somebody said just dealing with negativity, feeling really negative these days. A few people wanted to do gratitude and compassion practices. I think that's awesome. A few people asked me about yoga philosophy. I probably am not going to have time to do too much formal philosophy in this series because it's just 5 days, 30 minutes every morning, 9 a.m. Eastern time. Let's see, some folks asked me about like, how can I feel calm even though I need energy to do things? Such a good question. I love that. And yes, we will talk about that for sure. I had already mentioned anxiety. A couple people asked me about trauma. A lot of people asked about doing breathing practices. Let me just say, like, breathing is everything to me. I mean, it is how it's the main line into your autonomic nervous system. So when you know how to breathe, you can make some really good decisions about what you want to do with your nervous system. A bunch of people said feeling isolated. Of course, that makes sense too. People told me about asked me about like, what do you do when you feel really overwhelmed? Again, that's like in the realm of anxiety. A couple of people asked me to talk about polyvagal theory and Dan Siegel's window of tolerance, which I talk about all the time. So I don't know how I'm not going to talk about that. And there were questions about self-compassion practices, tips for shifting your energy quickly. We'll probably talk about that, but let me be clear that there's so much out there, whether you listen to Andrew Weil or many of the mental health people. there's so much out there that are these quick little tips, and even yoga people, quick tips for changing your energy, like do this breathing practice or do that. I don't have any problem with that necessarily. The problem that, of course, I have a problem with it, but like, it's fine to do those kind of practices, right? And the other piece, I didn't say but, I said and. The other piece is when you know how to work with the breath, and it's a sophisticated science. It's not just here, do the square breath, and that's going to make you, it's a sophisticated science. So when you understand how to work with your breath, and you do it regularly, then you start to change the trajectory of your nervous system, which is a good thing, as opposed to here's a breath to just get you out of this hole you're dug in right now. Nothing wrong with getting out of the hole you're dug in right now, but wouldn't it be good if you didn't go in that hole in the first place, right? And that's what learning breathing practices can be amazing for. So I'll definitely touch on breathing. In fact, I'll give you a little overview. That's pretty much it from what folks asked me to do, but I'll give you a little overview of the week here. So tomorrow, I'm calling a brain boost. So Monday's practice is a brain boost. So this means like, what can we do to improve or optimize the brain? If you've been following me, that's the stuff I teach about all the time. So I love that. So we'll be doing that for half an hour, just like everything's just a quick little practice, right? Tuesday is going to be about your breath. So we'll be working on, optimizing the breath and how you can use the breath to widen your window of tolerance. Wednesday is about the belly, and this has nothing to do with your belly, the external part of your belly. This has to do with the gut-brain connection. So we'll be doing a gut-brain connection on Wednesday. There's so much good evidence out there about the microbiome and how it affects mood. So that's what I want to do on Wednesday. Thursday, we're going to talk about the mind boost, mind and brain not being the same thing. So I'll bring a little more yoga philosophy in there on Thursday. And then Friday is the spirit boost. I'll be talking about spirituality and health and the great data that's out there and how to leverage your spiritual assets. So I hope it sounds like fun. I hope you are thinking about joining me. If you have not joined yet, I encourage you to sign up. There's a link in my link tree on Instagram. If you're on Facebook or YouTube, I will put links in after this live stream is over so you can sign up. And the reason I encourage you to sign up for it, because it's totally free, by the way, and you can watch it. It's just going to be like this, right? I even got my space already. We're ready to go. But the reason the reason you want to sign up, even though it's free, is because if you sign up, then every day after the practice, I'm going to be writing the stick figure scripts, or cheat sheets, sometimes I call them, for each of the practices so that you can have it if you want to practice it at home later. If you're interested in more of my teaching, I highly recommend that you check out the Subtle Yoga Resilience Society. That's where I teach every week. We have themes every month, and it's a great way to practice with me. And I also have lots of other online classes too. So this is the main thing. I was just doing a test today, make sure everything's working. It looks like it's working. I want to thank you, those of you who were here live today, and happy Father's Day to all the dads out there and anybody out there who has a dad. So thank you, and I'll see you tomorrow, 9 o'clock. Okay, bye.